Entrepreneurship is a truly amazing opportunity. As you guys know, when you're the owner of a business, nobody can fire you but you. People can walk out on you if you don't treat them well and you don't set up your structure well, but you are the boss of yourself. And that's one of the great benefits of being an entrepreneur. There's also a lot of disadvantages to business ownership, such as when the business loses money, guess who else loses money? The business owner. And so along my journey, I've lost many hundreds of thousands of dollars as I have learned to, sustain businesses along the way. And so I expect that you will also find various challenges as you walk through this business entrepreneurship journey. And that is a risk. And so your risk is you have to decide how much are you willing to risk. So if you've decided that you want to start a business, you don't have to rush out and spend a ton of money and take a risk of losing a lot of money. It's completely legit to start small. It is not a bad thing many times to start small. So where there are times in my past where I had the money and the opportunity and I dove in, and that's why I lost money. But you don't even have to do that. You can choose to be more conservative than me, or if you're younger and dumber, you might be crazier than I've ever been. But that'll be up to you. You have to weigh your risk and decide what level of risk are you willing to tolerate as an entrepreneur. It's so important that you take the time to develop a strategy. Every business will most likely have competitors. Every business can be a little bit unique unless you've chosen to go down a franchise road, which is not a bad thing. It's much safer than some of the things I've been involved in myself. So when you are looking at the type of risk and the type of strategy, and how are you going to win? How are you going to set your company up so when you study the environment and you look at your business model compared to your competitors, anytime you start a business, it's important that you weigh what are your competitors doing, what are they charging, what is their support staff or customer service, or what type of technology are they using to drive their business? Are your competitors using certain types of technologies, or are they behind on technology? Could that be part of your cutting edge? Are your competitors not relational because they're big national franchises and they don't have good local management? Could that be a competitive edge for your business? So whether you're going to start a dog grooming business, whether you're going to start a real estate type of business, regardless of it, I highly encourage you to study your environment, study the competition, try to learn what you can. There's lots of ways to accomplish that. I typically would begin online, and then other times I will go a little deeper and get a little more creative. So when you're looking at who are my advisors, you want to say my CPA, my attorney. What type of an attorney do you want to choose? I would highly recommend if you can find somebody who has a lot of experience, niches in the field that you're already in. So for me, I look for a great real estate attorney. Somebody who I know has been in real estate for many more years than I have, but also stayed up to date on the laws and things like that. So I would highly encourage you to establish a strong attorney relationship. These can get kind of expensive, and many times an attorney will charge by the half an hour increment or hour increment or 15-minute increment. But as long as you establish that relationship early on and you know what it's going to cost and you're open and honest with your attorney, then you can get some good advice to save you a whole lot of pain. And so if you have a type of business that you're going to hire a group of people and they needed to have a lot of intellectual property training in your company, and they built stuff that's proprietary that you don't want others to know about, you want to address those in your employment contracts. It's very important. So think about the attorney and think about a CPA. Who's going to help you to know how to make sure at the end of the year you're closing your books out properly? Depending on the type of business you're in, building a strong banking relationship is very important. I found from my early days that even having good credit cards, establishing larger lines early, and then along the way, I found that when you want to do big projects, it's really nice to know bankers who are able to do creative, large construction or residential purchase or different types of unique refinancing if you're acquiring commercial or office space or anything like that. You don't want to just walk into any bank and take whatever offer that they throw at you. So I would encourage you, if you're just getting started with what I would consider to be real bankers, that you go and meet 2 or 3 different real bankers who are actively lending money to business entrepreneurs who maybe don't start out of the gate with a bunch of money in the bank. When I started my journey, I did not begin with a pile of money in the bank, so I had to utilize some of these things. We were not able to renovate our first home with the cash that we had, and I didn't have the money to do it. And so we found money the way we needed to find money. And that was part of the beginning of how the real estate journey was for me. Maybe you're fortunate and have a lot of money to work with right out of the gate. And then investing that well and still having the banking relationship to maximize your opportunity is most likely still going to prove to be very valuable. I also say it's important to know the difference between a credit card and a charge card. Companies like American Express are what's considered a charge card, and some of the things that happen with American Express are that they don't show up on your credit report in the same way and things like that. These rules change all the time, so don't take my word for it. Make sure you do your research. Not my fault if you make a bad decision, but I just am throwing you a tip of advice to check out using Amex if you plan to have a large cash flow business, or something that is like an Amex that is not the same as a credit card. Because as a personal owner, when you use a credit card and your business staff use credit cards that are connected to your name, it will affect your personal credit. And so those are very important things to keep in mind, and that beginning especially of your business building journey. The risk of being an entrepreneur is partly that your success or failure really does lie in your own hands. But we all know that we're not everything. We don't have every trait of an entrepreneur. Nobody does. But you can surround yourself with strong people and very reasonably priced in the beginning to help you to balance your gifts. So we have personal characteristics, and I encourage you to take and look over your sheets of personal characteristics and things like courage, creativity, flexibility. I say around the office all the time, blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken. And I'll tell you what, if you cannot remain with a level of flexibility building a business, it is a very challenge to be a successful business owner. You'll find yourself constantly frustrated and mad at everyone. So learn to remain with a level of flexibility, yet being strong and hard, committed to your goals, and challenging your staff to reach the corporate goals that you have set. Skills like business skills, communication skills, the ability to organize and have the people skills to interact and the emotional intelligence to not just be a intellectually intelligent person, but to be an emotionally intelligent person who can connect with your staff, your clients. It is important of all people that you learn to get along with others as the business owner. It's very essential. So I've just mentioned a few, but I encourage you to go in and spend time, reflect on where you are, and know that all of these can be grown inside. So you recognizing that you can grow your communication skills if that's an area of struggle where you kind of rank yourself a little low, an area of growth, that's okay. So look at the things that we have listed and challenge yourself to pick some that you want to work on. And don't work on all of them at the same time like we've been saying throughout this program. Focus on just a couple at a time and let the incremental growth happen.